Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, I welcome you all in today's online session. Today we are going to have third lecture on environmental chemistry, that is chapter number 23 from your textbook. Previously we have discussed acid rain, its impacts, greenhouse effect and global warming. Today we will discuss the pollutants produced by automobiles, means vehicles. Then we will discuss the chemistry of stratosphere, the production of ozone and its toxic effects, protection action of ozone layer in the atmosphere, and the sources of destruction of ozone layer in the stratosphere. Starting with automobile pollutants, these are also termed as motor vehicle pollutants. Or motor vehicle pollution is caused by this. Our personal transportation choice has a huge impact on air quality. Coming towards definition, automobile air pollution are emissions from cars and other vehicular traffic consisting chiefly of carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, unburned gasoline, carbon dioxide, and lead. Coming towards explanation, dear students, in order to understand the nature of automobile pollution, you have to understand the process of combustion first. Whenever any fuel is burnt in the excess supply of air, it is completely combusted or is converted into carbon dioxide. This is called complete combustion. Whereas in limited supply of oxygen, incomplete combustion takes place, producing carbon monoxide. Now, in the automobile engines, which are basically the internal combustion engines, incomplete combustion takes place due to certain reasons, and this incomplete combustion produces carbon monoxide along with the other gases. It contains unburnt hydrocarbons, and when these are emitted into the air, they cause pollution. So you need to remember that automobile pollution is basically relevant to the incomplete combustion taking place in automobile engines. So this slide is showing you a summary. It says automobile engines use hydrocarbon fuels, fuels having formula C8H18, so called as octane, because it is containing 8 carbons. The molecule is containing 8 carbons, therefore it is octane. An incomplete combustion of this octane releases carbon particles, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and water vapors. Now you need to remember over here, because in internal combustion engines, incomplete combustion takes place. So as a result, some of the particles will be converted into carbon dioxide, some of the molecules of fuel will remain unburned, and some will be converted into carbon monoxide through incomplete combustion. So it means that all the molecules of the fuel are not completely converted into carbon dioxide through complete combustion, but some of the fuel will remain unburned and some will be converted into carbon monoxide through incomplete combustion. So this is basically due to the incomplete combustion. Now I am going to categorically divide the pollutants. Number 1, the unburnt carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide is produced because of incomplete combustion in the internal combustion engines, because of the less time available for burning, right? And because of the high temperature being generated in the internal combustion engines, the nitrogen oxide and oxygen produced are oxidized into nitrogen oxide and nitrogen dioxide. And all these pollutants are collectively termed as automobile pollutants. So categorically दो चीज़ें हमने डिवाइड की कि because of the less time available and incomplete combustion, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and unburnt hydrocarbons होंगे. Secondly, because of the high temperature been maintained into the engines, वहाँ पर मौजूद ऑक्सीजन और नाइट्रोजन गैसेस दे रिएक्ट टुगेदर टू फॉर्म NO नाइट्रोजन ऑक्साइड एंड NO that is नाइट्रोजन डाइऑक्साइड. So this slide is again telling you the same thing as I have just explained. See the last point, when petrol burns in car engine at high temperature, nitrogen and oxygen in the air of engine combine together to form nitrogen and nitrogen dioxide. This is a point I have just explained previously. Now dear students, these are the major air pollutants been produced through vehicles, are the incomplete combustion in the vehicles. So the names have been mentioned, most of them we have already discussed. And beside that, you can also keep into your mind that volatile organic compounds and sulfur dioxide and greenhouse gases are also produced along with the carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxides. The slide is showing you the difference between primary pollutants and secondary pollutants that we discussed in the very first lecture of this chapter. See in this diagram, because of the volcanic eruption and because of the gases produced and emitted in the industries and from vehicles and other sources, nitrogen oxide, nitrogen dioxide and volatile organic compounds are produced as primary pollutants, and these further produce by their reaction with the different compounds, O3 that is ozone and PAN that is peroxyacetyl nitrates. These are eye irritants, I told you before. Now coming towards the control measures, this is a very important thing. Last time the question was asked from this portion that what are the control measures to reduce the air pollution caused by the vehicles. So the number one is the use of lead tetraethyl lead or lead tetraethyl, you can pronounce it in either way. That use of tetraethyl lead reduces the combustion. This is a very important point you need to keep into your mind. When lead tetraethyl is added into the petrol, it increases the time for combustion. Now more time is available for the petrol to combust or to burn, and then large quantity of the hydrocarbon will be completely converted into carbon dioxide rather than into carbon monoxide. हमने already discuss किया कि अगर combustion के लिए proper time provide ना किया जाए तो incomplete combustion होती है. But what happens, tetraethyl lead provides enough time for petrol to burn, and hence it will be completely converted into carbon dioxide rather than carbon monoxide. Now coming towards another remedy, you can also use catalytic converters. These are actually the devices been attached with the engine containing the PT, means platinum, as a catalyst. What happens actually, the unburnt carbons and carbon monoxide etc. coming from the incomplete combustion within the internal combustion engines are mixed with more air by these converters and then are burnt completely in the presence of platinum catalyst and are converted into carbon dioxide, as is shown in the equations given at the end of this slide. You need to remember over here what happens in internal what happens when the converter is attached with the internal combustion engines. वो जो incomplete combustion से gases आ रही थी, emit हो रही थी, they will be mixed with more air by the use of converter, and then they will be complete, those unburnt particles and carbon monoxide will be completely combusted. Complete combustion will occur and they will be converted into carbon dioxide in the presence of platinum as a catalyst. Now what are the control measures? These are the different control measures you can use. You can monitor and repair any leaks in your automobiles. These are the different precautionary measures, actually you can say. Those were the remedies and these are the precautionary measures that you can take to reduce pollution. You can always take a good quality petrol. You can monitor and repair the leaks in the engine, and you can always take your car to commercial car wash or use detergents that do not contain phosphorus to wash your car, and direct the flow of runoff to grass clippings or gravel instead of the street. And when purchasing a new automobile, look for a car with high fuel efficiency rating, with having high efficiency regarding engine, etc. Now here is the second portion of this lecture where we are going to discuss the chemistry of stratosphere. Dear students, firstly, two things you need to remember over here, that the layer of atmosphere present from 20 to 40 kilometer above the earth is stratosphere. Previously, in the last lecture, I told you that the atmosphere extends about 1000 kilometers, right? And the first 20 kilometers are of troposphere, and you can say from 20 to 40 means next 40 kilometers, next 20 kilometers are of stratosphere. So first 20 kilometers are of troposphere, and then next 20 to 40 kilometer are of stratosphere. And in this stratosphere, from 18 to 35 kilometer range, within the 18 to 35 kilometer range, there is present a very important gaseous layer that is termed as ozone, and its concentration in the layer is 10 ppm. This is the content given in your textbook. You can consult from there. There is an ambiguity that in your textbooks it has been mentioned that ozone is present in stratosphere at the height of about 28 kilometers, and at another point the book is telling you that it is present at the height of 23 kilometers. So that point was ambiguous. That's why I am explaining. I have confirmed it that it is present within the range of 18 to 35 kilometers, so that you may not get confused, right? And its concentration in the layer will be 10 ppm. Other than that, the remaining details are been mentioned in this slide. Here it is showing that atmospheric chemistry is dominated by the chemistry of ozone. Between 85 to 90 of all the ozone in the atmosphere is found in stratosphere, and ozone is formed when sunlight breaks down molecular oxygen. This I am going to explain in the last slide. The stratosphere contains approximately 19% of the Earth's total atmospheric gases as well, and the 90% of ozone layer is found in the stratosphere's upper crust. And this ozone layer is important for man's survival and for survival of the life on Earth, as it absorbs the ultraviolet radiations from the sun that would otherwise be deadly. Dear students, here is the production of O3 and its toxic effects. Actually, ozone layer in stratosphere actually protects us from ultraviolet radiations. But what happens in the atmosphere we are breathing in? In this atmosphere, mainly troposphere, the concentration of O3 greater than 0.1 ppm. ppm stands for parts per million. It is a unit to show the concentration. So the concentration more than 0.1 ppm may proves toxic and harmful, and it will attack the rubber products. And this O3 produced in the atmosphere is because of the combustion taking place in the air. So you need to remember that in stratosphere it is very useful because it protects us from harmful ultraviolet radiation, but in the atmosphere you are breathing in, this can be harmful if its concentration increases above 0.1 ppm. Now, what are the protective actions of ozone layer? Ozone layer present in stratosphere is having the concentration of 10 ppm. This is very much important. As you all know, this does not allow the harmful ultraviolet radiations from the sun to reach the earth, because otherwise those radiations can cause skin cancer and many other diseases. So in that regard, it is blessing for us. It was reported previously that a hole was discovered in ozone layer over the region of Antarctica, and thus ultraviolet radiations could come directly to the earth in that part. And the reason because of the formation of hole was excessive combustion of coal in that area, and hence the thickness of ozone layer was reduced there, and ultimately a hole was formed over there. So the combustion of coal in that area was banned. I want to tell you over here that in these days, because of COVID-19, as you all know that all the activities were seized, सब इंडस्ट्रीज़ बंद थी, ट्रैफिक नहीं था, pollution बहुत हद तक कंट्रोल हो गई, and because of that our planet is rehabilitating, and the ozone layer was also regenerating itself, right? So that is blessing in disguise, you can say, in this regard. Here again at the end of this slide, it has been mentioned that the thickest layer of ozone exists at the height of 23 kilometers from the surface of the earth, and at another point in your textbook it was mentioned at the height of 28 kilometers. So you can take it as within the range of 18 to 35 kilometers its thickness is maximum. Now this slide is very important. Dear students, just look at the very first point that is showing you the production of the very first and second point are showing you the production of ozone layer or ozone molecules. The very first step is oxygen molecules are photolyzed, means they are broken down by the use of sunlight coming from the sun actually, and hence two atoms of oxygen are being produced. You need not to be confused over here. वो कहते हैं कि because of the light coming from the sun, the one oxygen molecule is converted into or broken down into two oxygen atoms. ऑक्सीजन मालिक्यूल जो हैं, हर ऑक्सीजन मालिक्यूल दो ऑक्सीजन एटम को यील्ड करेगा, and these atoms are reactive. Now what happens, look at the second point, that ozone and oxygen atoms are continuously being interconverted as solar ultraviolet radiation breaks ozone, and the oxygen atom reacts with another oxygen molecules very fast, and this interconversion process converts the ultraviolet radiations into thermal energy, heating the stratosphere. Now what happens, number one, the sunlight converts the oxygen molecules into oxygen atoms, and then these oxygen atoms combine with the other oxygen molecules to form ozone, O3, means O2 reacts with O to form O3. This is the production of ozone. And now the third point is very important regarding the destruction of ozone. Ozone is lost by the reaction of oxygen atoms or the ozone molecules with each other or some other traces of gases such as chlorine. Just pause the slide over here and consult your textbook. There a very elaborate topic is given by the title of sources of destruction are destroying the ozone layer present in the atmosphere. Here it has been mentioned that in 1980 the first hole was discovered over the region of Antarctica, and what were the reasons behind that. And next he is telling you the three main reasons for the destruction of ozone layer, and he is telling you that the very first one is oxides of nitrogen, and 70% of O3 found in stratosphere is destroyed because of the nitrogen oxides. Actually what happens, that nitrogen oxide reacts with ozone and is oxidized into nitrogen dioxide. So this point is very important, that the oxides of nitrogen reacts with ozone and are oxidized, and hence 70% of the ozone present in stratosphere is destroyed because of the nitrogen oxide. Number second, the nuclear tests are very important in this regard, that the high temperature is generated because of the nuclear tests, and because of that high temperature favorably nitrogen oxides are formed. And as I have already explained, that the formation of nitrogen oxides is very injurious and harmful for the ozone layer, because nitrogen oxides reacts with ozone layer and destroy it and get themselves converted into nitrogen dioxide. Now coming towards the last thing, that is क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन्स, इसके हवाले से आप शुरू से पढ़ते आए हैं that these are very harmful for ozone layer. These chemicals are actually, these chemicals are stable and inert and do not react with the substances in our environment, but they can be very injurious, they can be very harmful for the ozone layer present in stratosphere. These are the chemicals which are used in as aerosol sprays, propellants, refrigerators, firefightings, etc. But when they enter the stratosphere, they absorb ultraviolet solar radiations and get broken down into the free atomic chlorine. And thus, atomic chlorine decomposes the ozone into oxygen gas. So once again, I'm repeating it, that the chlorofluorocarbons, when enter the stratosphere, because of the radiations of the sun, they are broken down and chlorine atoms are produced, and these chlorine atoms react with O3 and destroy it and convert it into oxygen. So this is a very important point. You can consult your textbook in this regard. That is all for today. Thank you so much. Stay blessed, stay safe.